This is Morning Live. Thank you so much for staying on with us. Just now, though, I'm joined by Kamwala South Ward Councillor Maindes Mata, who is in direct contact with some of the people who have been affected by the recent developments in Lusaka, which has got to do with flooding. Councillor, thank you so much for your time. Good morning to you, first of all.
Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting me, and good morning to our viewers.
Yeah.
By the way, it's Kamwala Ward.
Kamwala Ward,
not Kamwala South. Kamwala South is a part of the ward.
Yeah, you know the how this Kamwala Ward 5.
Yes.
Yeah. But let's get the picture on the ground. How is it looking like?
There is hope now. It isn't as it was some 3 weeks ago when we had about 50 households that were completely flooded. We had major roads within Kamwala South that were impassable. And unfortunately, we even lost 2 lives. So since then, there have been massive improvements. We have about 4 stakeholders that are on the ground as I speak. We have ZNS that have deployed machinery such as excavators, backhoe loaders, water bowsers, and fire engines to pump out water. As I speak to you, Kamwala South Health Post, which was severely flooded and is currently shut down, the water has drained significantly, and I think we should resume operations in about a week or 2. We have opened up a channel that links a major road from Kamwala South to Chawama. We've opened up one of the roads to allow water to flow into the Bombay drainage. So major works are going on. We also have water bowsers on standby because the work by ZNS has been puncturing some Lusaka water and sewerage lines. So Lusaka water is on hand to ensure to say that those pipes are fixed as quick as possible, and bowsers to dispense water, clean drinking water to residents, because some of the water sewage effluent coming from septic tanks is mixing with storm water, so there's that contamination of water. So we have Lusaka Water working hand in hand also with the DMMU, who have offered us about 3 pumps to directly pump out water from houses. They are all working on hand. The only letdown has been with my own, the council which I belong to as a councillor, Lusaka City Council. I think we are having challenges with Lusaka City Council because you understand that these works need engineers and technocrats to be on site to be able to give guidance to those that are the operators on the ground. So I think we still need about over 200 culvert pipes, wire mesh, as well as concrete mix to be able to seal out all those drainages that we are opening, and also entrance to residences.
Yeah. So I want to understand something. I mean, where are these structures planned for? Are they sitting on designated land where they're supposed to be? Are these illegal structures, in short?
I think it's not correct to say all the structures in Kamwala South or Kamwala or any other part of Lusaka, for that matter, are all legal. We have those that are legal, those that are on title, those that are given land records by the council, but we have quite a number that were acquired illegally. You know, this spate of cadreism at one point, cadres will simply allocate themselves land without consulting the council, without following the due process of planning. And so we had a number of houses that were built in places which are not designated. And they built in places really where you shouldn't even build a house. Even if you're a layman, you're not an engineer, you could just look and say it's in a dam, but you can't build a house. So we've got about 5 or so houses at the spot where we had a drowning, I think some 2 weeks ago. Those houses are submerged, not at knee level, not at waist level, not at window level, but at roof level. That totally tells you to say that some of those houses really shouldn't be there, and those are houses which don't have any kind of documentation authorizing them to build in that place. And that's the challenge that we are facing, because at one point or another, when this program for digging drainages goes on,
I'm watching those pictures on our screens, yes. And I'm just wondering.
You see, roof level, like I said. So they are those houses shouldn't have been built there, and they have no documentation, because no planner could permit anyone to go and build in such a place. So the challenges are that even wall fences have been built on road reserves. We keep on saying don't build on road reserves, because if you encroach on a road reserve, you are blocking out way lines for people to build utilities such as drainages, sewage lines, water lines, power lines, and whatnot. So going forward, I think we engage some residents of the community to be able to demolish some of the wall fences where we should put drainages in the long term. Quite a few numbers.
Please conclude.
Yes, so quite a number. They will need to do an assessment of the whole area to find out where the drainages can pass, where it's possible to put drainages, and where we find that perhaps one or two offices should come down for a drainage to pass. We engage the residents, and the residents are all too willing. We've talked about it. They said, well, we can pave way for a drainage if it means even reducing our offices or bringing them back to parameters to allow for drainages to pass.
Offense, it's easier. What about those that we've got houses that need to be demolished based on your assessment? Are they willing to have their property damaged or destroyed, rather?
Of course, no serious owner of a house would ever recommend or agree to their house being demolished. But as painful as it may be, difficult decisions must be made for the greater community, because you're looking at a community of about 25,000, okay? To help a community of 25,000, perhaps if you have to demolish one or two houses to pave a way for a drainage so that the other thousands are not affected, those difficult decisions have to be made. Of course, it's not to us councillors or MPs or politicians. The technocrats in Lusaka City Council, the engineers, will be able to properly advise. Then we'll find amicable ways of helping those that might be displaced.
Yeah, I asked this question because half the time people are willing to sacrifice if they know they will be compensated.
Well, issues of compensation bring in legal issues.
Yeah.
If I built without a title or without authorization from a city planning, and city planning decides to demolish my house, am I at liberty to claim for damages? It's different when I have a title to a house. If you are going to be, the state gives me a title to a house and then they later come and say we need to demolish and pave way perhaps for a development of one form of another, then there can be compensation. But if you built illegally, you were actually stopped, because some of these people were actually served with letters. And that's one of the things I followed up when I came in. We found about 2 to 3 houses there that didn't even have permission from the council. They have even connected power, which is another danger to the community, because the lines are just hanging low. So I think we'll continue to engage with technocrats from the Lusaka City Council, planning department especially, to enforce the law.
Yeah, you mentioned of a health post being affected, and you cited that maybe in the next week or so they can resume operations. Have you gotten any help, from nearby health facilities to sort of be on the lookout? For instance, waterborne diseases are likely to be on the rise in your ward.
Yes, that's one of the issues that I'm vigorously pursuing. It's unfortunate that the shutdown of the clinic happened at a strategic time when there was a measles campaign. So actually, for the first 1 or 2 weeks, those who were doing measles vaccination actually had to operate from a shopping complex, which is just opposite the health post. But I think we've had now to redirect people to Kamwala Clinic itself, which is near the CBD, and that's quite a distance for the majority of the population in Kamwala South, and it's been a challenge. So we are working around the clock to ensure.
Has there been an increase in the demand for health services during this period?
The demand for health services is always there, and in fact, most of the people that come to Kamwala South Health Post are not even from the ward itself. They cross over from Chawama and Kuku area. So it's imperative for us. It's very of much concern for me that health post begins to operate as soon as possible. And we're also trying to procure chlorine just to disinfect some of the stagnant water that has mixed with fecal matter, so that we avert other waterborne diseases such as cholera from occurring.
Yeah, and I think when you speak of cholera, it just brings to my that look, you needed probably to do a lot of sensitization now, spread as much information as possible out there on how people can simply, be safe. And, but are you already doing that?
Well, we haven't begun any sensitization. It takes a logistic organization. And right now, that is the role of the Lusaka City Council through the health department. So there are always other technical issues of logistics, budget, and whatnot. So we haven't begun to do that. The only sensitization that we carry out is when we go to these disaster areas, meet a few members in the community, and also our Facebook pages as civic leaders.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you've got the DMMU on the ground.
Yes, DMMU, ZNS, Lusaka Water and Sewage Company.
I want to
the only player that is not there is Lusaka City Council.
All right, I'll come to that later. What sort of support are you getting from from DMMU?
The major support that's coming from DMMU is in terms of water pumps. They have provided 2 water pumps because there's some scenarios where you can't dig a drainage in a particular place, but a house is flooded. So that's where GMMU is going in. Of course, they're working hand in hand with the fire department of Lusaka City Council. They will lay pipes there and they will pump out the water as a short-term solution. They're also providing fuel for these pumps because they are quite huge gas guzzlers, so they constantly need to be refueled. Then apart from that, DMMU is also helping and procuring water pipes for Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company, because Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company, of course, in as much as they can provide the labor to repair the pipes, they are also overwhelmed in terms of the spare parts. So they are also procuring water spares for Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company, so that in case there's a breach of any pipe, there shouldn't be much time before those things can be repaired. So they have been quite instrumental. I think the only part where we are sort of lagging behind is provision of alternative accommodation for those that have been displaced, because they need to be either redeployed to other houses or rather tents set up for them with food and non-food items donated. I think that's where we are still lagging behind.
Have you engaged the GMMU, because that's their responsibility?
Yeah,
now.
they are very much aware. It's on record. And I'm sure they are working through their internal processes to reach that target.
Yeah. Earlier on, you gave me a figure of over 50,000 households?
No, 50 households.
50 households.
Yeah, that have been totally flooded.
So I wanted, do you have an estimation, rough estimation of the cost of property that has been damaged as a result of this?
No, we don't have a cost. We don't have a cost of that. We haven't done an assessment on the cost. But I think most of I would say electrical fittings in the houses, some appliances such as fridges and stoves have been totally submerged and damaged. I've received a lot of those videos. I'm sure if you were watching the disaster in the early days, you'd even see a refrigerator floating in the house, seats totally wet. So the damage is quite substantial, though I can't give you an estimate. Yeah. But it's quite substantial.
So I'm just thinking there's a lot of danger. Has power been cut off in that area to allow for safety, or power is still running? What's happening in that area?
Indeed, I must say
I'm just thinking of you innocently just bypassing, you step in water, the water is charged up, and yeah.
I must say that in the early days of the flooding, households were advised, if the water is about to reach the circuit level, they were advised to turn off the power at the main lines. And ZESCO also moved in to isolate all those houses that were flooded. As a matter of fact, some poles were almost even collapsing, such that high tension cables were almost touching the water. Those power lines were also isolated and repaired. So in terms of the danger of electrocution, it has been minimized because household owners have turned off power where water is still reaching socket levels, and others which are totally submerged, like the ones that you've shown there, they have totally been isolated from the main power lines.
Yeah. Earlier on, you kept talking about the Lusaka City Council. Why are they not on the ground? What's happening?
I'm afraid I also do not understand, because I've continued to engage management at Lusaka City Council to say, look, you are a local authority, you are key stakeholders, you are the ones that collect levies, rates, and you are responsible for the local administration in this city. And for me, they are key stakeholders. When we talk about, because ZNS is on the ground with their equipment, and they have stated clearly to say we are ready to provide even the labor for the full rehabilitation of these roads or the openings that are being cut for drainages to pass. But you have to provide us with material. We are talking about concrete mix, we're talking about culverts, we're talking about wire mesh. That is the responsibility of the council, because once RDA constructs a road and hands it over, the repair and maintenance is for the highway department of the Lusaka City Council under the Department of Engineering. But up to now, even the road that we opened up, I think about 2 weeks ago, with the Honorable MP Taengwa, up to now it hasn't been closed up. So I'm wondering to say, what is the role of the local authority?
What response are you getting? What are they telling you?
It's quiet, literally quiet. And
I'm thinking you sit in the council, so they should have some level of respect or courtesy to be able to get back, give you some feedback.
Well, unfortunately, that is not there. And you can ask any other councillor in the Lusaka City Council; they'll tell you about the challenges that we are facing in terms of communicating or having management to enforce some of the duties that they are. Because us as councillors, we are not enforcers of council resolutions. The council has got the infrastructure and all the departments relevant for them to enforce. Same thing happens to issues of waste management. By the way, the issue of waste management, clogging drainages, is also compounding this effect. But ask them to clean, well, you'll be asking for the next 3 months before you can see any tipper truck on site.
Are your residents within the ward paying any levies to the council?
Yeah, by law they have to pay. They have to pay for the rates. They have to pay also for waste management. They have to subscribe to waste management companies. Most of them, of course, the compliance is not really that much. We only have about 25% of people like in my ward that have subscribed to waste. But the council does collect levies everywhere in the city where people are doing business, and the compliance is there. So we only expect that as a local authority, the service that comes from the Lusaka City Council must be commensurate to the amount of money that the residents are contributing.
Have you taken another step, which is maybe visiting the office of the minister under the local government? Because the local government supervises local authorities. Have you taken that
Indeed,
step?
they are very much aware of these challenges, and of course it's up to them to re-engage management. Because at that level, if we can't be heard, the next step of escalation is the Ministry of Local Government. And I think we have made our demands and displeasures about the operation of the LCC known. Because at the end of the day, if the LCC does not deliver, the pressure comes on us councillors. We are the ones who are held accountable and questionable. People in the residents or residents in the ward, they do not call the director of planning, they do not call the director of health, they don't even know who the town clerk is, but they know the councillor. So it's up to us as councillors to ensure to say that if things are not being done at Lusaka City Council, they should be escalated to a level where I think the council can be compelled to carry out their duties, especially in this crisis. Like I've said, they have not been on the ground.
When you're explaining, you give me the impression that you're on your own.
To some extent, yes. To some extent,
and maybe there should be a reason why you're on your own.
To some extent, councillors in Lusaka, I can use this euphemism, they are like orphans. Because none of the resolutions, maybe only 1% of the resolutions that we pass in full council are actually implemented by management. The rest, as you keep on getting stories of there are no finances. So I can tell you for a fact.
Why have you been left to be on your own?
I think those are...
maybe the question is, what have you done?
What have we done?
Yes.
We've done everything possible, what we're supposed to do.
No, to upset the local authority, to desert you. Force them to desert you, because I don't think they can just wake up and say.
It's not a matter of being upset by upsetting the local authority. It's a matter of the local authority not carrying out its legal mandate. Of course, they have got excuses such as we don't have enough money, but I mean, for a council like Lusaka City Council, the biggest local authority in the country, to not even have a tipper truck running at the moment, not even to have an excavator, not even have to have duty vehicles for key departments like planning and engineering, something must be terribly wrong there.
And which is why I asked you, what answers are you getting from the local government office?
So from the local government office, we are yet to receive communication, but I'm aware to say that they are engaging the council, especially on this same issue of the flood crisis, because like I said earlier on, ACC has not, I mean LCC or Lusaka City Council has not been a big player in this disaster. They have been absent. Kudos to ZNS, kudos to Lusaka Water and Storage Company, kudos to GMMU. But Lusaka City Council, no sure.
No sure. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I certainly hope that we have at least managed to, hear what is happening on the ground and what you plan to do going forward to resolve the flood situation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, unless you've got one or two words for your people on the ground.
Of course, I would just like to encourage residents of Kamwala to bear with us in these trying moments. I know there's a lot that has to be done and a lot is yet to be done, so let them just bear with us. We are slowly coming to each and every household. No one will be left behind. Sooner or later we'll get there and deliver the help that's needed. I
haven't heard your message to the mayor, for instance, or even the local government minister, Gary Nkombo.
Well, we use other channels to re-engage them.
Yeah.
So that we can get the necessary results from LCC.
Thank you so much for your time and wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. This is Morning Live. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be engaging the Institute of Planners as we get to hear what their thoughts are.